Wow, it's so. Oh, it was just damn a minute ago.
Welcome
Okay.
back to On Your Hero. She wanted to do a video today on the live, so you can kick it off.
Yeah. So I'm Butterfly Spirit. Spirit. Sorry. I just had my memory jogged about a conversation that I had with someone I know, and it was about marriage. And I totally was. It just flew over my head. I really didn't know. Like, I was just caught up in what I was thinking about and things. So, what was it that they said that they basically the person said that they didn't care if they got married in a backyard or whatever. I forgot the other part. Go ahead. What was the rest of it?
No, good.
Okay, so they just said they didn't care if they got married in the backyard. So for a lot of people, they don't know that I basically have people on mostly my dad's side of the family, and they're really people who they push the idea of marriage a lot. I've been to gatherings and stuff like that, and a lot of times what they talk about is who got married, who had kids, stuff like that. On my mom's side, a lot of people really don't talk about marriage or anything like that. That's not really their focus. And so somebody close to me, one of my siblings, I guess the pressure has kind of gotten to him that he thinks that, after a lot of pressure, he thinks that he should get married and things like that. I don't think he should. I mean, we're not married, we live together. We're not married or anything like that and things. And I I put the brakes on really with my family members a couple years ago when they gave me silent treatment. They mentioned marriage. So we weren't even there like 5 minutes before we were told, oh, well, you can get married at a courthouse. We did, and stuff like that. And like, that was the first thing. They didn't say, how you doing? Nice weather we're having, how you feeling? How's your mama now? It's not, they didn't say that, oh, I talked to your dad, it's not like they said that, none of that. They just went right to the marriage part. And I think that maybe it intimidates them if somebody is, they're not married and they're living together or something like that or whatnot. But I mean, it is what it is. In terms of pressure, the easiest way to deal with that, I got ahead of myself, is to distance yourself from people who are pushing the idea, of you getting married and different things like that. So I think that that's one part. I want to give anyone a chance to kind of say things because I've been talking for like 3 minutes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's a collab. Go ahead. What do you think? What did you think about when we went to my gathering for my dad's side? We went there and we weren't even there that long. And remember that lady came up to us and stuff and was like, you guys can go get married at the courthouse. You remember that? We were sitting at the table and stuff. Yeah. What did you think about that when it happened?
I just thought, she's right. Good. Just not going to. Not ready yet.
Yeah.
But that's something that you could do. That's only if the chick is okay with that, because they want to feel different. They want the attention of the marriage thing and having everybody look at them and being center of attention type thing. At least having it 75 or at least 70% of what they see on TV. Otherwise they're not going to feel any different than what was used to get married. It's not really about getting married and the wedding and all that. It's not really about the guy. It's about all eyes on her. She gets all the attention, all that attention she's been wanting, she's been seeking, and then she gets it all at once. Okay, then she gets a new title, new wife, and then that's all that type of stuff. But if she doesn't get that, okay, if she doesn't walk down an aisle, she doesn't get all eyes on her, she doesn't get the attention she's seeking, that's not going to make her feel different. Getting married in the backyards, no. Okay, it's not the same. It's not even remotely close to a environment that you would see on TV, on a beach, with one of them arches, in a church going down an aisle, even in a ballroom going down an aisle. You know, the whole Cinderella thing with the ballroom. And so she's not going to feel different. Then you got married for no reason, because then she wants to do it again. And she's going to might, you know, start making up arguments that never happened before, saying you did stuff that you've never done, you can't even remember, and all this and that, just to try to get you to break up with her and get a divorce. So that she could say, oh, it's the man's fault, man ain't crap, blah, blah, I'm gonna go get married again, like she really wants to do, when really that's all it's about, is her trying to seek that attention, that marriage idea in her head that she really was wanting the whole time, you know. But
I think
that's just one part of what I think about when they say that. I mean, it's true, but you're not ready, and you're still arguing. You're not ready, you know. Go ahead.
I think that getting married in a backyard, I'd have to agree. Getting married in your backyard, you don't go anywhere. You don't get the adventure of going to a new place. You got a lot of people, you know, they go to places. I forgot what they say. Forgot that term. But they elope. Okay, there we go. So it just kind of came out. But a lot of people like to elope. You know, they like to go to nice places, like Emma was talking about. They like to, you know, go to a foreign country, you know, and get married. Some people like to go and get married on a beach somewhere like a Cancun or Hawaii or something like that. Some place, you know, that they've never been, nice environment. I mean, it's cold outside now at this point. So, you know, people want to go somewhere and enjoy where, you know, they're going and stuff like that. You know, they want to do that. And what I would say is that getting married in the backyard doesn't do anything. It doesn't, you know, what does that do? It's more of the same. I mean, if you walk through your backyard, you know, you don't think nothing of it. You're going back and forth to the car like I used to do when I lived with my mom. You know, it's not anything significant. And when my parents got married, they were forced to get married. Basically, they, you know, my dad's mom, she, you know, I don't know if my mom was pregnant or already had a baby or whatever with my dad, but my sister, but my grandmother made my, you know, mom, my dad get married and everything like that. My grandmother, you know, for whatever reason, she didn't really see eye to eye with my mom or whatever and things. And it's just one of those things where getting married in the front yard, like, you know, my mom and my dad, they didn't have a wedding. You know, it wasn't something where my mom got to wear a nice dress or, you know, be in a nice place or whatever. It wasn't like that. You know, it was more of a forced arrangement to please my dad's mom. That's more of what it was about. It wasn't about them, you know. And I think if your marriage starts off like that, you know, I don't think either of you guys get a chance to enjoy it. You don't get a chance to go to another place. You don't get a chance to have the food you guys like. You don't get a chance to have friends there that, you know, is there witnessing you guys getting married. Now, you know, getting married in the church, I don't really agree with that at this point. You know, I really don't think it makes sense. But you can have it other places, you know, and stuff like that. But going to the backyard and getting married, I feel like that sends red flags off to me, because you're in the same place that you lived at or where your significant other lived at. And I don't think it gives a difference, like he was saying, to, you know, what you'd want to do. You know, I mean, especially what if you lived in a bad area? You want to get married in your backyard? You can get shot. I mean, is that really something you want to do? You know, it's not doing anything. And I also thought about the fact right now, it's popped in my head, but what about people right now who are getting married during COVID? You know, people who get married during COVID, they don't get a chance to have their family and friends there, you know, who can see them doing stuff. So you may have the likelihood that people will divorce because they didn't get a chance to have that, you know, have the experience, you know, of, he says, experience of getting married and things like that and things. I agree that you shouldn't be having, you know, arguments every day, you know, things like that. It should be a calm period where you guys can learn to understand each other. I think that's a good thing to do, is to learn to understand each other. And sometimes you're not going to understand it, different backgrounds, whatever, but you can go to counseling. And this is something I want to bring up. You can go to marriage counseling. premarital counseling. We went to premarital counseling. And when we went, Anwan had realizations. Me, I really didn't have many realizations about it. I just kind of thought, okay, I'll go and see if this works out. What can we do and stuff. I mean, we're still going to have counseling either way, but, for him, it led to some discoveries and things for him. But I recommend premarital counseling to people. But if you get the right type of counselor, somebody who's going to, spark you to actually have realizations about stuff. The lady we went to, basically we was there, she was there, but it didn't really do anything. It didn't really go anywhere. And he had the realizations on his own after it. And that led us to do something. I guess I was looking it up somewhere. Oh no, we got the recommendation to do this thing called Prologue from his pastor and his wife or something like that. And I guess for whatever reason, they recommended Prologue, so we tried it out and things. What do you think about Prologue?
I found it to be beneficial, but it's only beneficial if, one, you have to tell the truth. 2, you have to hope the other person is telling the truth.
Yeah.
And 3, they have to be right there with you.
And what is Prologue, by the way? So everybody knows what that is.
Prologue is a premarital survey, basically, questionnaire of what you will do when it comes to marriage. What will you do after marriage? What will you do like a little bit before marriage and stuff like that? How do you feel about finances? How do you feel about kids? Or how are you a clean person? How many kids do you want? When do you want those kids? At what age? Or what do you want your finances to be? Who's going to buy groceries? Who's going to pay rent? Who's going to pay bills? The hard questions. Do you have an ex you're still in love with? Is anybody still
That's an important question, because you got people out there that they're still attracted to their old flame and stuff like that, meaning they're significant ex. Yeah.
Do you have a kid in the adoption center that could pop up later down the road? Stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think that when we took it, I don't remember how long it's been since we took the test. I feel like maybe, I'm thinking like 3-4 years. I don't know. I think maybe that long. But I think that test, I think it's good. I think at the time when I took it, I can't remember my results or any of that stuff. I don't think I remember it. I think Emma may have it, but I don't really remember the results to it. I think that
you do get your results in your email, whatever email you set up for Prologue by Gary Chapman. You will get supposedly your answers and link inside of the email.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if I was using the same email I use now because I use Gmail, so I don't know if it's the same email. But I think that your answers to those questions is very important, because you're not going to know what to think about that stuff. You're really not going to know. You're pretty much, if you're going into marriage and think you're getting married blinded, if you're going in that way, it's not the best thing. I think it's a great idea to know what somebody's thinking, and to take the test together. So, but be honest, very important. I think the test that we took, I think for me, I think I probably have different answers to it at this point. I think it will be different on my outlook on it, because that was like 3 or 4 years ago. So 3 or 4 years ago, I was thinking about one thing, and now I'm in a totally different, in a different vibe than what we were before. Because at that time, Anwan was working full time. I think I was in college. Now, he's doing a part-time thing. I'm doing full time. So it's the differences. But I recommend that test because I think it's important, and it helps you uncover some things about the other person that you didn't know. I think it's very important for a person to find out, what if one of you wants to have kids and what if the other one doesn't? Does that mean you got to end your relationship? Is that a really important thing? I think the kid thing is very important, because you need to know, and I think that's maybe the first thing you need to ask them when you're dating them. Very important, because if you don't want kids, but they do,
especially the one, if you get pregnant during sex, will you have the baby, or will you get life together? Will you have an abortion, or will you put the baby up for adoption, or stuff like that? No matter what stage, let's say you know, your finances are terrible. Y'all arguing all the time.
Yeah.
Terrible time to have a baby, but you don't believe in abortion, but you also don't believe in birth control. So
Yeah.
therefore, you wouldn't have the baby no matter what. Even if you was raped, you know, you would have the baby and try to put that baby's responsibility of another man that raped you on your current person, type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's the strength of a person's feelings and how they feel in their soul that we talking about.
Well, what's wrong with birth control? What's wrong with
No.
a girl being on birth? I'm saying just the question there.
Oh,
I mean, what's wrong with birth control? I mean, I'm on birth control. You know, I have a birth control. It's called Nexplanon. It's in, I believe it's in this arm. Yes, in this arm. And I've had Nexplanon. I think I got it in, was it last year? 19? I think it was last year. Or if I had 2 years, I'm not
sure.
Yeah, so I got the birth control last year. And being on Nexplanon, I haven't gotten pregnant. Not once. Follow the instructions. It's very simple for a girl to get. Go on Planned Parenthood, you know. Go on, you talk to, I think it's like a doctor that it administers me. But, you know, I haven't had any real things that I would say have been bad side effects. You know, I mean, at first, you know, first period is going to be, I think it's going to be long, you know, but after that, you know, it's cool. You know, periods I'm not really that worried about too much. I think after I first got it, after my first period, I think it was like, it was gone for like 3-4 months or something, maybe 2-3 months, and it came back. But I've seen Nexplanon to be a benefit. It's been a really great benefit. You know, I haven't gotten pregnant. There's been some things that we've used. I think we used, his pull-out method was one thing. I think condoms is another thing. VCF was the other thing that we used and stuff. And well, you know, different things work at different times, different points and stuff like that. And so, you know, of course, a couple of methods failed. So that results in a pregnancy. For Awan, he thinks that, you know, you do have to get pregnant for, you know, it's not working for you. Is that right?
How is she going to, when they say you got to choose the right birth control that works for you, that's true. But the only way that you know a birth control doesn't work for you is a pregnancy happens.
Yeah.
And it is at that point you can either choose, pay that $400 at Planned Parenthood, get that abortion, have the baby, put the baby up for adoption, or keep it and then try a new form of birth control and just keep having children all the way up until you probably 6 children, up until you hit that 7th birth control that you finally find that works for you, which would suck. But
yeah. And what I think is that, you know, just the girl getting pregnant or woman getting pregnant, it doesn't mean that you have to have the kid, because you have to think about your circumstances. Like he was saying, what about your finances? Do either of you have jobs? You know, do you have that going on? You know, what if for the female, what if you're living with your parents, you know, and now you're pregnant? You know, what about that awkward conversation you're gonna have with your parents?
And are you a black man or a black woman?
Yeah.
Now you have to throw oppression on it.
Race, oppression, yep. Because that's the thing, you know, and it's not just saying, okay, well, I'm pregnant, whatever. Now, some girls are gonna be happy to be pregnant and everything, and that's their thing. I had some girl that was on my Facebook. I think she mentioned that, you know, she found out she was pregnant, you know, and that's a lot of girls, you know. But I think that, you know, being pregnant is not the only thing. You know, you can get an abortion. A lot of people are saying, oh, Planned Parenthood, they're going to steal your kid, this and that other. Okay, you know, but they don't do that. You know, actually, when I had my abortion, it was basically something where, you know, they were actually there. They were there to talk to me. They were there to comfort me and everything like that. There was other girls doing the same thing. And we did have to pay our own money for that procedure. It's like a surgery. That's pretty much what it is. It's not a coat hanger thing where a coat hanger goes up, you know, vagina. It's not any of that stuff. It's not that way. And I think there's a lot of people believing in BS because they want to choose to be that way. Okay. And it's not that way. You know, getting pregnant, now if you're somebody, you know, you want the kid, you know that's really something for you, of course you can have the kid. But you have to think about your relationship too. Is your relationship going to survive that? Because it may not survive that. You know, ladies, you may be with a guy who he doesn't want kids. And if he doesn't want kids, but you do want a kid, you can't make that guy want a kid because he's not going to want that. You know, and that's why it's very important to start talking about that. When y'all first get together, that's an important thing. Before y'all, you know, lay down and have sex, you should definitely be, you know, talking about that before that happens so you can at least know. You know, y'all can at least have a plan because it can happen. Yep, girls, they do, you know, have one night stands and stuff like that. But what about if you don't know the guy? What if this guy was this random dude? You don't know who he is. You just met him in a hotel room. You know, y'all just met for that night. You don't know who he is. What if you never see that guy?
And
guy again?
If you a guy and you got to quote unquote get married for the baby, what if you was totally responsible? Used a condom, it didn't break, it didn't leak, you threw it in the trash, and then she goes in with a turkey baster into herself, and then say, "Oh, well, he got me pregnant," but really you didn't. And she just straight sabotages you in that way. Would you really want to just, you know, get married for the baby to that person that's that freaking devious and deceitful and making you look like you're not responsible? And then get all the girls in the Facebook comments, YouTube comments, and Instagram comments all saying, "Oh yeah, you know, he's a VA, you know, he's a nigga," you know, all that stuff they say. You need to take care of your kid. You need to take responsibility when he was fully responsible.
Yeah.
You want to get married to that person you can't trust?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, and this is important too when it comes to boundaries. It's important that you have boundaries, you know, in your relationship. And you have to, you have to know these things. You know, get out a piece of paper, you know, type it on your Gmail, the Google Docs, whatever, and decide what boundaries that you need to have, you know, your relationship. Now, of course, if the girl's pregnant, you did everything you could, you know, the only other thing I think anyone said is that, you know, that you can do the Hail Mary, which is, you know, you tell her how much of what is a bad idea to have the kid, everything like that, to give answers to the girl to have, you know. Now, you can have an abortion. Some girls can cause an abortion themselves and stuff like that naturally, so they don't, you know, have to go through an abortion. They don't want to do that. You know, go ahead.
Hello. Go ahead, keep going.
Oh, okay. And that's something that can certainly happen. You know, it can definitely happen. A lot of people have that stigma towards an abortion, but they don't have to, because you have to think about it. You know, in my childhood, I have, you know, circumstances where, you know, I went without, you know, there's times without food, there's times without heat, you know, which would be, you know, powered by gas, times without electric, you know, different things. And I think that a lot of people don't think about their childhood when they're thinking about marriage or being a kid, you know, don't like having a kid. I'm sorry. They don't think about their experiences as a kid and use that as being credible, you know. But I think a lot of people don't really think about that. You know, they don't think about what did you go through as a kid? You know, would you want your kid to have the same experiences as you do? Is that something that you'd want to be the case? You know, have you seen other people's marriages? You know, have you seen your parents' marriage? Have you seen, you know, family and friends, you know, marriages? Have you seen that? You know, what happened with that? You know, my parents, it was, you know, married but separated. That's pretty much what it was. For Anwan, it was divorce. And then, you know, one of his parents got remarried. You know, I mean, is that what you want to happen to you? Is that really the result? You know, that's why I'm saying, if you see a situation where somebody gets married in the backyard, what's the outcome? Did they get a divorce? You know, do you have teachers that, you know, they got divorced, they didn't know the person? You know, you've had that experience, didn't you?
Yep, I've had back when I was Christian, basically. Mm-hmm. I was going to college, and I had two teachers, okay, because I was trying to be, you know, holy and all that extra stuff. Well, I had one lady, she got married, her name changed. I was like, oh, okay. Well, next semester she was unmarried that fast. And I'm like, what happened? And she was like, Ellen, you make sure that you live with a person first before you marry him. I was like, well, are you a Christian? She was like, yeah. I was like, oh, so that failed.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the first thing. It failed. And then she's a Christian, and so am I. I was like, okay. So then, next year pops around. I have a guy teacher, and he had a ring on his finger. Next thing I know, he don't. And I'm like, hey man, you okay? You didn't seem so good today. It's like I went through a divorce. I was like, what happened? He's like, listen, Aaron, one thing I gotta tell you. Make sure you live with a person before you marry him. And I was like, are you a Christian? He was like, yeah. And I was like, dang, it fell for a guy too? So I was like, all right, it's a lie. I'm not about to be doing this get married stuff before living together stuff, because a female done did it, she was a Christian. A male did it, he was a Christian. That's both genders. It ain't working. If it's not full proof that they telling me to do this, then and God puts me with all of that stuff, I'm not in it. I'm out. I'm gonna do what they said to do, because obviously I don't want to end up like them.
So what about the video you watched? You told me at one point you watched the video of this guy.
Oh yeah. So I wanted to see. I had came from church one time, and it was like, when you get married and stuff, and you do it before you live with a woman, and before you have sex, then everything's gonna be right with you, and everything's gonna be right with God. You're gonna be God's favorite. Everything's gonna be right with you and God. I was like, okay, let me look this stuff up, because I ain't seen this shit before. They worked out for my mom now. Let me look it up. So I looked it up, and there was a black dude. I'm like, okay, he's a black dude. I'm a black dude. Okay, he's a Christian like me. Okay. So then he said that he didn't kiss a woman and stuff. He stayed a virgin. I'm like, dang, okay, I was virgin. I stayed a virgin. I was still a virgin. Yep. I was what? I was 19. That's just only wasn't. I was 20. I was 20 at this point, and that's I was still a virgin. I was following, what the church said, because following the book is different, because they don't give me the whole book, so I can only follow what they say. So that's what I was doing. And then the dude was like, hey, listen, guys, I was always being a good Christian, and everything, and I didn't kiss the girl yet, and I didn't have sex with her yet, and our wedding was my first kiss and stuff. It's like, but I had a problem. He was like, well, we said our vows and things, and my vows was really heartfelt. Her vows, I don't know. It seemed like maybe she might still care about me, but it wasn't like she was ready for me to be her husband type thing. He's like, well, anyway, came to the honeymoon, and it came down to finally get to have sex and lose our virginity. He's like, well, she pulled my pants down, and she looked at it, and she said, what's that? She said, horses' penises is bigger than that.
She must have been doing a horse.
And then he was like, oh, well, this is what God gave me, and so let's make this thing work. And then he said that they didn't have sex on their honeymoon. And then he said that they got a divorce the very next week.
Didn't you say she laughed at it?
Yeah, she laughed at him. And he was embarrassed and stuff like that. And then they got a divorce. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I better not. I'm like, oh, I better not. Yo, what they say? They said, don't have sex before marriage. I was like, yo, I'm having sex before marriage, bro. Mm-hmm. I'm about to do that, because I'm not about to get treated like that dude did, and then be married and get a divorce like that. I'm like, oh, no. I'm doing things better than, I'm happy I looked that up.
What happens if,
I know I was a Christian, they told me don't research nothing, but I had to see this wonderful life they kept talking about. It was not wonderful.
Well, what happened? Isn't it better that he got a divorce once he knew something was wrong?
Oh yeah, because there's a guy, I had to find this out later. Never was told this, grew up, came with a man and everything, past 21, got all the way to 23. And finally had to learn that there's something called alimony. Mm-hmm. And the laws, everything ain't fair. When you're a Christian and everything, you think everybody's trying to get to heaven, everybody's doing everything right. No one wants to go to hell, everybody's a Christian. Everything's a test from God, and somebody asks you to do something, and I was like, okay, well, marriage must be fair. But I just know that I didn't want to end up like my mom and dad. I didn't want to end up divorced like that. So I was starting to look stuff up, and I found out that there's something called alimony, where if you don't get this thing called a prenup, a woman can take your car, your house, you can get into your retirement funds, take that. I'm like, car and house and take all your stuff. In some cases, she can get into your savings and take your savings. And I'm like, what? And then if you get another job and you get a raise in money, that raise in money doesn't go nowhere but to her, and you gotta pay however many years you was with the woman is half of those years. So if you were with the woman for 8 years, that's 4 years of alimony payments a month, like child support. But if you don't get a prenup and you're with the woman for 10 years married, you got to pay her for the rest of your whole life, all the way up until she gets remarried again. But that would suck, because what if that was her plan the whole time? Then she's never going to get remarried, and you're never going to be off the hook.
Yeah.
Your whole life.
Yeah,
we're paying her all for dang. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Did we see a prank? So we saw this prank where there was this guy, and he was married, and things like that. I think they were in their bedroom or something. And this guy had this prank. You remember the guy? And this guy said he won the lottery. I think you remember that. The guy said he won the lottery, right? And it was a prank. You know, he was trying to see what happened if he had a prank where he won the lottery. Go ahead and tell him, because I know you was.
I felt so bad for the
What
kid.
happened? What happened?
Basically, the dude had a fake lottery ticket.
Yep.
And he had it on TV where he had this recorded, and he just recorded where the person won, right? And so he got a lottery ticket and made a fake one. Yeah. Like, oh baby, look, you won. You know, we won.
We won.
Well, when he said that, she came out into the bedroom. She hopped on the bed. She was jumping up and down. She's like, okay, good. We can get a divorce and stuff now. Oh man, that's all I wanted anyway. Was the money anyway. That's what I wanted anyway. So you know we ain't doing so good. Come on, honey. We could just go our separate ways and stuff like that. And it was fake. But she didn't know that's her real feelings.
Yeah, and then
he's like,
and he told her,
it's been 8 years. What? 8 years, you know. She didn't love him the whole 8. She hid that the whole 8 years.
And what happened?
Well, they got a divorce.
Well, he told her, right?
Yeah,
he told her what happened, and then what was her
fake.
reaction?
She was like, oh wait, I was just joking. You know, it's like, no, we getting a divorce. It's a good thing he did too, because he had 2 more years left.
Yeah.
And then I had to find out about marriage. It's like your debt is shared too. Your debt becomes one big debt. Whatever much debt that chick has, or however much debt that dude has, that debt is shared. And that's bad, because like, what if she has a bunch of college debt on top of other stuff? You know, you don't want that debt coming in and swooping in and affecting your credit score.
Yeah.
Because cars, you need 720 credit score. I tried to test drive a freaking Toyota Corolla.
And what the guy
Camry that looked real good, but he said I need 720.
The guy at the Toyota
place, yeah. So if you don't have that, if she comes and you get married and her debt drops your credit score below 720, now you can't rent a car. If it drops your credit score below 600 or 620, now you can't rent a house.
Yeah.
You know, that's some bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So a prenup is, look, if you're a guy and you feel like you want to get married, a prenup is everything for you, because that's all you got to protect yourself. Now, if you feel like you want to get pregnant, if you feel like you want to get married,
yeah,
or you feel like people's pressuring you to get married so bad, and now you feel like, man, I just want to shut them up. Here's another thing you can do. It's called taking a break. Okay? Either you might be taking a break to have sex with other people, or maybe not. But you can, if you want to just make her be quiet and pressuring you so much, you can tell her. If she don't listen, you can just leave and get that. You can leave and get her to be quiet of doing that. You do understand that, right? You don't have to freaking stay in a mental abuse cycle like that. You can leave. Okay, you save your stuff up, do whatever you got to do. If you know stuff ain't working out, you know you're not ready, she keeps pressuring you. Well, I'm just trying to get her to be quiet, or trying to press me about marriage. You can also leave and get that.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
You can.
You know, you don't have to stay in the pressure. Okay?
That's true. And it could be the same thing for a girl too. If she has a guy and his family's a Christian or something, they're a Christian family. It can be the same thing. You know, they can be pushing, oh, when do you guys get married?
You're right, Native. You can just have a fake marriage to shut people up.
That's you can.
And without all the paperwork crap and everything else like that, she gets her attention that she wants and all that. It's the same reason for how some chicks get pregnant. Some of them reasons is for money, but some reasons is they're a woman, their duty calls to have a baby type of thing. But they don't want the kid though. What they actually want is the pregnancy experience, the
Maternity
the
shoots.
maternity shoots and all that stuff and the attention, and then they want to
Yeah.
experience childbirth, what their body is wired and telling them to do, push that baby out. They want to experience childbirth, okay? But they don't want to experience the kid though. They don't want to experience the infant. They don't want to experience that kid being 3, 4 years old. They don't want to experience that kid being a 13-year-old asking a bunch of questions. So, how'd you and mom get to this? How dad and you get together and stuff? That girl looking kind of cute and this and that. Or I was starting to like my teacher. She looking good or whatever. They don't want to deal with that. Or them questions or daughter sticks her hand down there, comes up and it's all bloody. When the dad freaking out, like they don't want, they don't want to experience that part.
Yeah.
But they just want to experience, childbirth. Well, if that's the case, there's a way to do it. Just be a surrogate. That's okay.
Absolutely, yeah. A girl can be a surrogate, like where a woman would get paid to have a baby or something like that for a woman who can't, and people need that out there. Surrogates, I don't know how much they get paid. I know they make like, I could take a guess, maybe $50,000 or something like that. That would baby and stuff like that. They get to experience childbirth,
There you go.
but they don't have to keep the kid, and they just have the money, and that's kind of an easier thing. I'm surprised a lot of girls don't think about that.
That's the way you can do that. And if you're a man, if you like me, I would get a vasectomy, but I wouldn't tell nobody. If you would just get a vasectomy,
yeah,
and if you have a suspicion that somebody's cheating, immediately start using condoms, whether you know that you can get pregnant or not, because it's not going to stop you from getting the STD.
Yeah.
And then, but if you don't have a vasectomy, and you know that your sperm is live wired, the mugs is swimming, okay? You're not shooting blanks. Look, here's what you do. Put the contents in the condom. There it is. Sperm's in the condom. You take it to the sink. You fill it up like a water balloon. Shake it up back and forth and just empty it down the sink and throw the condom away. This way, you are completely responsible and you have a step 2 prevention.
Yeah.
There's no sperm in the condom. So when you throw it away, she goes in there with a turkey baster. I just got to go to the bathroom and clean up and freshen up, whatever. Goes in the bathroom with her overnight bag. Then goes take the turkey baster and start looking in there, trying to suck up some sperm and stuff to put in herself, and there's nothing there. Okay, it's all down the sink. Good luck getting that out. Okay, that way you have a step 2 method of pregnancy prevention, and you're double responsible. Okay, but condoms I recommend is Durex.
Extra sensitive.
That's nice.
What about
stay away from the
Trojan?
Trojan. That stuff was breaking out the box. Those condoms was breaking out the box. And look, man, I'm not out here galloping like a dang 9 freaking inch horse or whatever the heck. I'm a bit above average, kind of. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it was breaking on me. It was breaking. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, and I was gonna say something about the marriage part. I agree with the fake wedding. I kind of agree with that, or marriage or whatever. I agree with that because then you guys have it's like a party. It's pretty much that's what it is a party. But you can pretend, and then you guys can always go your separate ways, which I think that's pretty genius anyway. Because then the girl can have her experience, the dude can have his experience, but you guys are not really committed like that. It's not really a.
And I also think, from my opinion, is you should really identify what the next step means.
Yeah.
Do you know that for some people, the next step with marriage means doing less? Do you know that? For some people, the next step is doing more. Okay. Yes. Okay, we are. So
yeah.
The next step could be for a chick is after she gets, and I've seen this a lot. I don't know why they do this. That makes sense. Either after they get married, then they start getting huge. They chop their hair off, start looking like guys, start wearing yo clothes, and and then the bad part is they actually go out in public looking like that next to you, making you look like maybe you might be into the LGBTQ community and you're not, you're straight, you know. And then they actually expect you to get that stuff up in the bedroom, looking like that. You know, what if she's going down and you rub your head on her bald head? What you gonna do? You think you're thinking about a chick?
Yeah.
If you eyes closed and you, oh yeah, baby, and you, and that head bald, that head is not got a lot of hair now. Unless you're into that, some guys into that. Hey, some guys into chubby chicks, some guys into bald chicks. It's a thing.
I don't agree with the girl cutting her hair off. Actually, my view is that after a girl gets married, they should actually still have their hair, because if a girl has long hair to, wedding, why not continue to keep it? To me, I feel like it's a waste, because if you're a girl looking at a girl with long hair, that it's like, wow, she has this long hair. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I wish I could have hair like that. And the girl cuts it off, I would think that girl she's going to get less people that look at her and think she's attractive, because girls look at other girls, and some girls you look and say, oh my gosh, she's really pretty, she's really beautiful, and girls do that, and girls compare, just like on animes where girls can, the girls compare boob sizes. It's kind of, everybody knows about that, what I mean.
I believe kissing on camera is probably against YouTube's new guidelines. You know what I mean?
It is?
Probably. You better not do it. Better not do that shit.
Is that really?
Everything is against YouTube guidelines nowadays.
It is?
Look what happened to my sex surrogate stuff. They took that down apparently. People couldn't find that no more about my sex surrogate sessions. I had to re-upload.
I don't know. Yeah.
And I didn't even kiss in that video. I was talking about almost saying something about my hair, sex, going through some mental stuff, trying to repair, what happened through childhood.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it still got taken down.
That's weird. I mean, that's
maybe because I put the word blowjob in the title, but they got women they got chicks with videos.
Oh yeah, that chick with the banana. Yeah,
how to give a good blowjob. I'm like, so it couldn't have been that. So I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Maybe they just want to hide the fact that people need therapy sessions, or maybe they don't want to keep giving advertisement to sex surrogate therapists or something like that, I don't know. Or maybe they're trying to hide that stuff happens to kids when they're younger with that whole pedophilia crap.
Maybe that is the case. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was saying that I don't really see why girls cut their hair off. I don't think they should do that, because didn't it take a long time from the girl that hair? And if it took a long time and then there's a girl that doesn't have a lot of hair, then that other girl's gonna want the girl's hair.
But the reason why I even said that is to make that point. What I meant by when they said I want to take relationship to the next step.
Yeah.
That next step is doing less. When she chops her hair off, that's less she has to do for her hair to look good for you. That's she don't put on makeup no more. She's doing less. Don't cook. Don't help you around the house. Don't she's up to doing less. But then you might be like, well, I'm trying to do more, look better, work out more, be a good buff husband, got good muscles, learn how to fix on a car, like going to be doing, that all that type of stuff. Learn how to fix on the house, be a Mr. Fix-It, at least for the basic stuff in the house. He might be thinking, okay, I'm gonna take the relationship to the next level. Oh shit, it's the next level, so let me do more. Well, she said, "Oh, yeah, it's the next level. Let me do less." I think
it depends on the chick, though, doesn't it?
Less sex.
It depends
less intimacy.
It depends on the girl, though. Let me get this. This is not working. Oh yeah, keep talking. It's your. Oh, it's my phone.
Yeah, I mean that's just that's one of the things I'm saying.
Oh.
Also for if you're not ready, I'm gonna let her go. She probably got more to say. After she's done, I got one more thing I'm gonna say. I'll be dang if it's about to hit an hour. Okay, but after what she says, then I'll say my last thing.
Okay, so I don't think a girl should cut her hair. I had a sibling that had the experience where one of the girls he dated, she ended up cutting her hair shorter when she found out she got engaged. So it doesn't just happen when the girl gets married. It didn't happen before that. And that's when, of course, their relationship after that didn't really, they didn't go from there, kind of ended. But one thing I think with a relationship is sex is really important. It's really important because That's why you live with somebody, to find out what their sex drive is. You find out, that because, sometimes one person's the everyday person. Sometimes,
Message retracted. Maybe he don't want to get hit by YouTube guidelines.
That's okay. I mean, I think sex is important though. It's really important because you got to know if one of y'all is the everyday person, the other is not, So that's like really important to know, It's good if you guys have like a similar sex drive or something like that. I mean, are you a person who wants to do, the everyday and stuff like that? Do you really want to do that, Maybe not, I think, wouldn't it be exhausting if you're with a person and they're like a everyday and you're not, because then you're not meeting their needs, and that can be a rifty relationship. And that's one of those things that's an issue.
And then they're gonna get it someplace else.
Yeah, if you're somebody that's gonna cheat, you might as well not be in a relationship. To me, I don't think that makes sense. I mean, and I forgot about.
You can come to a compromise, which is, makes people cringe when you say compromise. Because the more you compromise, more likely it is you're with the wrong person. Anyway, let's say you got 5 compromises. And who you compromising for? Is it even? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or is it you compromising all 5 ways for one person? That already tells you.
Yeah, you shouldn't compromise 5 ways. Yeah. I mean, there's things you can do. Like, for example, for me, I'm not really a person who I'm really super clean. I'm not really that kind of person. Really, he's more the clean person. I'm more of the not so clean person. So, in a situation for him, he likes to clean on. Well, he doesn't like it. He kind of just does it. But if he doesn't want to do something, I'll be like, okay, let me go ahead and do it. Because he doesn't want to. But there's a way to deal with something. Like, for example, if cleaning, let's say neither of us want to clean something. Well, we can always hire a maid. We can do that. Hire a service, people come in and clean our house or something like that. And then it's clean. They can show us how to decorate different stuff like that or whatever, and it can definitely work, That's a way that neither of y'all got to compromise. You just have a maid service that comes over. If you don't want to cook, I've heard about something else. If you guys, neither of y'all want to cook, right? And the person that cooks is tired of cooking, hire a chef. Hire a personal chef, have them come over, make some meals for the week, and then you're good, I think that there's ways that you don't have to compromise. You can just have you have something come up that kind of helps so you don't have to worry about it. Now, of course, for a guy or girl, you're not going to want somebody to come up and try to have, you have somebody come in and have sex with you. Obviously, you're not going to do that.
Unless you're into the orgy thing and you have friends and they're cool with that.
Yeah.
And you're cool with threesomes. So
well, what if your person's not cool with the orgy thing? Like, maybe they don't.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah, and maybe. And I think that happens to people that are married, where like one person wants to try something, the other person doesn't want to try it, and maybe that's something.
But you see, that's a result of the words, I'm bored. So then they're trying to spice stuff up. But then if she don't want to, or if he don't want to, and they keep saying they're bored, who's to blame there? Because okay, I'm trying to spice stuff up, but you don't want to do it. You keep talking about you bored. So when you go cheat, I'm gonna be like, what the hell was wrong with you? Because I was trying to compromise. I was trying to be spicy. Got me some fuzzy handcuffs. I do. Got me a freaking hand bar to tie them hands together. I got it. So what? Get you something. I got them from Hustler. From Hustler Hollywood.
Yeah.
So
I think there's
if you start saying I'm bored, put on a Spider-Man suit. Put on Batman. Put the Batman voice on.
You're funny.
Say, I'm Batman. Why are you doing stuff? Just
really. I'm Batman. Really?
Yeah. Be creative. Otherwise, and if she still say I'm bored, look, I don't know what you asking for. What you bored about? You want to go out someplace? Want to watch a movie? Not really doing anything. You're sitting down, but you do get to share the ride of emotions, through a movie and all that.
Yeah.
But
what was the last thing you were gonna say?
Okay, the last thing.
Hungry for the pizza.
Me too. The last thing I was gonna say was that when it comes about the marriage part, in my opinion, about reasons why not to get married yet, is you might have 2 different types of things that make you feel like you can get married, and they might not match. For a chick, it could be a part of her plan and her time. Okay. It could be, at a certain amount of years,
age.
that are her age or her certain amount of years, how long y'all been together, is when y'all should get married. But for you, it might not be that. It might be, okay, let me get my relationship to a point where I'm not getting told really bad stuff, like get the fuck out of my life, you know, stuff like that, or like breakup type stuff, you know, or where you're like making a person feel so bad they're going crazy in their mental state and shit like that. So for them, it might be where that stuff has to be gone for like a year and a half before they're like, okay, I think that stuff's gone. It hasn't happened in like a year. I think we're ready, you know, and that has to be gone.
Oh.
But so for some people, it's a different time. For her, it might be she's waiting for you to get off drugs or something, or she waiting for your rehab to be done, or she waiting for you to be done with bail so y'all can go travel,
Oh, no.
or some stuff like that. No, it's different times. So y'all really should think about or talk about,
Yeah.
you know, what age do you feel like you want to be married at?
Yeah.
You know, and then if you have a time for marriage to be married at a certain age or a certain amount of years you've been together, you should say that. You know, if your time limit is infinite all the way up until y'all finally get done with your arguing, you're finally not having breakup type stuff. Because listen, if you're engaged or you're not married yet, or you're not even engaged yet, and y'all are saying some hurtful shit to y'all to where you would break up, like breakup type stuff, you're heading for a divorce immediately. If you just want the marriage experience just to have it, just go do that. So that way you don't got to go through paying for a divorce, $300, $400 something, pay for a divorce, serving them with papers, going through the court system, having a judge tell you who gets what, who, and all that extra stuff. There's separate times for who wants to get married. That's the last thing I'm saying. Okay, that's it.
And they got to save the money too. I mean, you have to save the money for marriage if you don't have money.
Yeah.
You definitely have to, and you got to have a budget to actually save up for that. Because I think marriages cost anywhere between like $33,000 going up.
And if one of you is a saver and the other one is a spender,
Yep.
y'all not saving. Okay, especially if the one who's a saver feels like they got to make the other person happy so much that they're giving them the money. There goes the money. You're not saving. Okay, I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
Is there anything else?
No.
All right. Thank y'all for watching. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, guys. I really